Hey guys, what's up? It's Jason Wojo. I have a special treat for you today. I'm here with my friend Kevin Dehaven. Kevin's my diet coach. So some of you guys come to me for diet, I go to Kevin. Kevin's really helped me understand a lot of things about diet that previously I didn't have a good grasp on, and he helps people from all levels of experience in competitive history. So what we're going to do today is sit down with Kevin, talk about diet prep, talk about some of the things that have to do with maybe different diets. We're going to pick his brain a little bit. Before we do that though, Kevin, why don't you tell the people watching like who you are, how you got into diets, and kind of your experience.
Hey guys, my name is Kevin Dehaven, as Jason said. Kind of how I got into this whole thing, I think within a couple years of training, I decided I wanted to compete. And what I did, because I didn't know anything as far as the nutrition went, is I started reaching out to some people in the local gym where I trained who had some experience competing and had more knowledge with diet and training than I did. You know, they helped me, and as I competed the next few times, each time I would compete, I'd reach out to somebody different and get somebody else to help me. So I gained a whole bunch of experience through getting different individuals to help me. And then as that progressed, I found myself training and getting ready for shows and having my training partners asking me for help. So I started kind of kind of an accident really. I had a few people that wanted me to help them out with their diet. I did. Things went really well. Next thing I know, I had more and more people asking me. Then one of my main training partners was like, "Look, man, you know, you need to. This is a service. You probably need to charge for it." And I kind of evolved from there. So that was, you know, I guess I started helping people about 8 years ago.
And you've helped people from their very first show all the way up through, you have pro athletes as well.
I have, you know, it's one of the things I'm most proud of is helping athletes at all levels. I think really what my goal is with any client is my goal is just to make that client help them be the best they've ever been. I don't care what level it is, whether it's a local level, whether it's a state level, whether it's the nationals, whether it's a pro show. That doesn't concern me as much as I want to, if you come to me and want my help, my goal is to make sure that when I help you, you're better than you've ever been before.
And I can tell you guys, so I've been doing this a long time. I'd always done my own diet before working with Kevin, and I've done okay, you know, top 5, second, third, whatever. But it really wasn't until I started working with somebody else, and this is Kevin's done the only other person that's done my diet other than myself, and it really, really took me to another level. And the first year we worked together is when that's when I won the state show and in my class of junior USA, and you went to nationals, and so
10 nationals, yeah.
Yeah, so on that point, would you recommend that everybody use a diet coach, and why or why not?
I would say it depends on the individual. I mean, if you're in the gym and you're just getting into this and you say, hey, look, I might want to try my hand at bodybuilding, but you know, I'm not real sure what I'm doing. Just like the way I got started, you might find somebody in the gym that'll actually help you, you know, write a diet for you, give you some guidance, give you some tips, and that may be enough to get you started. It really depends on what level of help and guidance you want. If you want somebody to lay everything out for you, diet, cardio, training, you know, 16 weeks, 15 weeks, whatever the case may be, then you may want to look into helping, you know, hiring somebody. But it just really depends on the individual. I mean, if you can find what you need in the gym through a training partner, through a friend, and they're willing to help you for the first time out of the gate, that might be enough. If you really want go from point A to point B and everything in between, then it's probably not a bad idea to hire somebody.
Because you still have somebody do your diets, is that correct?
Absolutely.
So to teach, you also need to be the student. So it's kind of like, and it's hard to evaluate yourself objectively sometimes when you're dieting and.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's different. I need structure. You know, I know what to do. I've done it enough times. I've helped enough people. I know what I need to do. But I just work better and function better when somebody goes, this is what you need to eat. Okay. You know, and I need somebody who can be more objective, like you said, because my thing is every time I would look in the mirror getting ready for a contest, I'm like, I would think that I was way ahead of where I was or way behind. I never really saw myself for being exactly where I was. So I needed another set of eyes, somebody who could keep constant eye on me to help me assess my progress and what needed to be done. And a lot of times now, for me, when I compete, and I get somebody to help me, we discuss what I'm going to do, because I'm pretty in touch with my body and what works for me, but I'm open-minded to whatever they may have to suggest. But it's more about having another, for me, it's more about having another set of eyes on me that can really help me keep my head straight.
So that's something like, so even if somebody doesn't hire a diet prep coach, it's probably a good idea to have someone who's not your mom or your friends, take a look at you and give you an honest opinion of what you look like. Because, you know, we see it all the time. People that show up and you're like, and everybody's like, oh, I looked awesome, I should have won. And sometimes it's not that they, you know, they just have bad information because they didn't have the people in their corner that had the experience to really know what they look like. So speaking of that, like, would somebody just starting off benefit just as much, I guess, from a less experienced diet coach, or do you need to go to one of the top names in the industry? Is that kind of a waste of money?
I don't think you need to go to one of the top names in the industry. I think it all depends on, again, on the individual and how much money they want to spend. There's guys out there who charge $5,000. I don't charge $5,000, you know. There's guys out there that charge $2,500, $3,000. There's guys that charge $2,000. There's guys that charge $1,000. Then you might find somebody charge you $500 or $600, you know. It just really depends on that person. The other thing that's important to mention, I think, is if you're dieting for the very first time, if you've never done a contest diet and you're dieting for the very first time, your body usually responds very quickly and well. So, like Jason was just saying, if you have someone who can be honest with you and tell you the stuff you don't want to hear sometimes when assessing your physique week to week, and this has to be somebody who's looking at you continuously. It can't be they looked at you today and then 3 weeks from now. I mean, it's really through the contest and through this whole preparation, you have to have somebody that can look at you every week, every 2 weeks maybe in the beginning, and then every week after that. It might even be every couple days. But you know, you really need someone there who can really help assess your progress. So
you actually bring up two of the points I wanted to ask you about. First of all, is what's an average range for a contest prep diet, and how long would that typically be for someone? And the second point is, well, I guess we'll say to the first one first, but the second one is, do you believe in these online diet coach? Can you make it work with somebody if you're sending pictures, or is that, you know? But the first question was how much are we looking at for an investment?
The first question, I charge anywhere from $800 to $1,200, depending on the client, depending on my history with them. If it's somebody I've been working with for years and years and they don't require as much attention, it might be the $800. If it's somebody brand new, the time that I like to have, minimum 15 weeks. Even if somebody comes to me and they're in good shape, I would rather have more time to really get them eating a lot of food and see how their body responds. But you're looking at, we'll say 15 to 20 weeks would be in my opinion, the appropriate time needed to really get somebody to where they need to be and in the best shape of their life.
And so what do you think about people that, you know, you're just sending pictures and someone across the country? Is that, so my question is basically, is it better to have somebody who's pretty good be off-site and remote, or somebody who's just okay that they see in person, or does it really matter? I mean, what do you think? Can you benefit from that?
It's always easier if you can see somebody face-to-face and in person. But the reality is, if you, and I help people online as well, but if you have somebody who's not in your territory, and you are able to send them pictures consistently, again, that might be every 2 weeks and every 1 week. You know, with you, I had you sending me pictures almost every single day. I mean, some people just change that much and you have to see it. The thing that is most important, in my opinion, as far as if you are going to get hooked up with somebody to where you're doing pictures and not seeing them live, same place, same lighting, same time of day. Because if I'm looking at somebody's pictures and they send me pictures, you know, in the morning with daylight, and then the next time they send me pictures in the evening in the bedroom, I mean, all that plays into what I'm seeing. If I see, consistency is key. If I see them standing in the same light at the same time of day all the time, I can make the appropriate adjustments and get them in the shape they need to be in. But it's always, it just may require more work on both parties.
One thing that you mentioned, you know, you talk about $800 to $1,200. Some people will hear that number and be like, what, that's ridiculous, make a diet. But when you think about all the other money you are putting into a show, whether it's food, supplements, everything else, your posing trunks, your, you know, Pro-Tan, all this stuff, it should be the foundation, I think, of your contest prep diet. I mean, That's really the money best spent, in my opinion. And people just sometimes don't grasp the importance of that service.
Well, a lot of times too, when you're paying that money, in truth, you may pay me $1,000, and for the first 10 weeks, you might go, man, he's not really doing a lot. I don't know why I'm paying this money. And then week 11 comes, and week 12 is the week of the show, and I got to do so much work that last week, and you're freaking out. You're like, well, that was worth the money. I had a client that I bet you if you asked him, he would say, I don't know if Kevin was worth it for the first 12 weeks of the diet. Well, let me tell you something. The 13th week, when we were dialing things in and real close to a weight class, and I was down with him in a hotel room, and he wasn't making weight, and I'm like, let's go, it's time to get in the sauna, or whatever it is that you have to do. And then me being there with him to support him through everything that needed to be done to get him on stage, I guarantee you I was worth the money, or I was, and your contest coach, whoever you pick out, could very well be worth the money. It may not be that you're paying him for the whole 15 weeks. It may end up, when you look back on it, you paid that guy for a couple weeks. I mean, the work varies on the individual, truly.